Well, Barbie, or maybe you're Ken. Director Greta Gerwig, she didn't get the award for her screenplay, and producer Margot Robbie, who played Barbie, didn't get to pick up the Best Picture Oscar. Ryan Gosling didn't win for Best Supporting Actor, and his song I'm Just Ken lost out to Billie Eilish's Barbie song.
Wow.
But he did give a show-stopping performance.
I'm just Ken.
You know, everyone in the audience was singing and dancing along, and you could feel the onstage Kenergy all the way up to the rafters where I was sitting.
Mandalit, thanks so much.
Thank you.
That's NPR's Mandalit Del Barco.
This is NPR News.
WNYC is supported by City Harvest, who are on the road every day rescuing 77 million pounds of nutritious food a year for New Yorkers in need, transforming surplus food into sustenance and sustainability. That's how they feed good. More at cityharvest.org.
Marketplace Morning Report is coming up next, and then in 10 minutes at 9 o'clock, it's the BBC NewsHour on WNYC. Let's check in with London to see what they're working on. London, good morning.
Good morning, WNYC. I'm Tim Franks. On today's NewsHour, Gazan and Israeli hopes for a Ramadan ceasefire dashed, and the mystery of the withdrawn royal photo. That's BBC NewsHour, coming up at 9 on WNYC.
It's 8:51 and it's cold out there this morning, colder than it has been over the last week or so. 39 in the city and overcast skies. We see some clearing right now. Wind advisory all the way till 11 o'clock tonight because it's going to be very windy as it was yesterday, gusty today. The real feel making it feel as cold as the mid-20s. It'll be sunny and 50 for a high today.
The saga around Boeing has taken a criminal turn.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Odoo, focused on providing all-in-one open-source business management software with fully integrated applications for every business need. More at odoo.com. And by Fidelity, a dedicated advisor can help create a wealth plan for a full financial picture. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC.
From Marketplace, I'm Sabri Benishore, in for David Brancaccio. The Justice Department has launched a criminal investigation into the incident last January where an improperly sealed door blew off an Alaska Airlines flight midair. Alaska Airlines, in a statement, said it was cooperating and didn't believe the investigation was aimed at it. The New York Times says the inquiry is indeed targeting Boeing. A string of safety incidents on Boeing planes over the last week has earned the airplane manufacturer even more negative attention. A tire fell off one plane, fumes filled the cabin in another. Yet another plane moved violently due to a, quote, technical event that injured passengers. But as U.S. air travel continues to break records, does falling trust in Boeing and its planes actually hurt the industry? Marketplace's Elizabeth Troval has the story.
Since an airplane door panel blew out mid-air on a 737 MAX 9 in January, consumer trust in Boeing has taken a serious hit, says Nikki Zink with Morning Consult. But as for the carriers who fly those planes,
actually trust in airlines is creeping up a little bit following the end of 2023. It's small, but I think still really notable because it's actually quite hard for brands to build trust.
And Mike Gallinari with Mintel says he doubts many travelers will actually stop flying in Boeing's planes.
Taking time out of this booking process to research the craft that the flight might be on and book around that if so desired. I think that's just a level of work and complexity that your average air passenger isn't going to undertake.
And when you consider alternatives like driving, travel writer Tim Leffel says,
it's still far safer to fly than any other form of transportation.
He says travelers may think poorly of Boeing, but they'd still rather fly to visit grandma than stay home. I'm Elizabeth Troval for Marketplace.
Boeing stock, by the way, is down about 2.5% in pre-market trading. President Joe Biden will propose a new budget today for the 2025 fiscal year. It includes tax hikes on wealthy Americans and corporations. Marketplace's Kristen Schwab has more on that.
The budget proposal says it will reduce the federal deficit by $3 trillion over 10 years, and that's largely because Biden wants to go after high earners. His proposal raises the corporate tax rate, increases the minimum tax on large companies, and quadruples a tax on stock buybacks. He also wants billionaires to pay a minimum 25% tax rate on unrealized personal income or unsold assets like stocks. Also on the list, paid leave for workers, a reinstated child tax credit, new tax credits for some home buyers, and expanded reach of health insurance through the Affordable Care Act. The budget proposal is more like a wish list and re-election campaign platform as Biden seeks to contrast himself with former President Donald Trump. The new spending and tax increases are unlikely to get by Republicans who control the House. I'm Kristen Schwab for Marketplace.
All right, let's do the numbers. Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ futures are all down in the 5 to 0.6% range, with Dow futures down 173 points.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Schwab. With Schwab investing themes, people can invest in ideas they believe in, like artificial intelligence, renewable energy, pet passion, and more. Over 40 themes to choose from. More at schwab.com. And by Twilio Segment. Segment brings customer data together for real-time insights, so companies know each individual like they are their only customer. Learn more at segment.com.
1 year ago yesterday, Silicon Valley Bank failed. 2 days later, Signature Bank collapsed. And later in the spring, First Republic Bank failed too. Government intervention played a big role in containing the fallout from the collapses. But a year on, the banking system is still feeling a lot of reverberations. Marketplace's Justin Ho looked into what has changed in the last year and what has not.
The whole banking system was caught off guard by the problems at the three mid-sized institutions, especially regulators, says Catherine Judge, a law professor at Columbia. But right now,
we have regulators who are on high alert for the possibility of problems and are actively working to try to make sure they understand where sources of fragility might exist.
For instance, the Federal Reserve says it's been keeping a closer eye on commercial real estate loans, since many have been showing signs of stress. There are also proposals to beef up the cushion banks have to carry to absorb losses. Overall, Judge says regulators have learned that big banks aren't the only ones that can threaten the financial system.
Banks the size of Signature Bank or Silicon Valley Bank have the potential to be systemically significant in a way that are going to require extraordinary action by regulators in connection with their failures.
But even though the banking system is more stable now, a lot of the problems that were revealed a year ago haven't gone away. A big one is the pressure banks face when interest rates rise, says David Schiff, head of retail and consumer banking at West Monroe.
Higher interest rates, particularly the longer they stay high, mean greater operating costs, means greater uncertainty around the balance sheet, both on the deposit side and on the lending side.
On the lending side, a lot of banks' cash is tied up in loans they made back when interest rates were low. But on the deposit side, banks are having to pay their customers higher interest rates to keep them from running to the competition.
Banks are really struggling, particularly with small businesses, commercial institutions, and high net worth customers that have greater degrees of deposits, to prove out that the relationship is really worth it.
Banks are trying other ways of keeping depositors happy. Dominic Miarton, the CEO of Optus Bank in South Carolina, says his bank's been looking at cutting fees for services like wire transfers and fraud protection.
We frequently have to say, to win your relationship, to show you that we're a good relationship bank, we're going to do that for very little or nothing.
Miarton's bank makes a lot of loans in low and moderate income communities. And lately, he's been going to big banks and saying, hey, you want to help those communities too, so why don't you deposit some money with us? That strategy has been working out.
We pay them interest on it. We send them statements. The money is insured. We agree on a term. And I'm hoping that they continue to reinvest those funds with us every time it matures.
Miarton says those deposits are allowing the bank to continue making new loans at a time when other lenders have been pulling back. I'm Justin Ho for Marketplace.
And in New York, I'm Sabri Benashore with the Marketplace Morning Report. From 8 p.m., American Public Media.